Viewers and subscribers, welcome back to Beating the Press podcast. I am your host, Rafa. Now, today we're going to be reviewing the two big games which took place over the weekend. Brentford versus Aston Villa, that one ending in a draw. And of course, on Sunday, the big shock. Newcastle pretty much dismantling Spurs 6-1. And we see where the aftermath has resulted in the sacking of the interim Spurs coach. But joining me to review and preview some of the matches, we have Leon.
Welcome back. Nice to be back, viewers and subscribers.
And of course, returning to the platform, we have the crystal ball man, Carey.
Almost got it perfect this weekend, but big up to the subscribers, listeners as usual. I appreciate it. I appreciate the support.
Yes, indeed, another magnificent week of football action behind us, and another week of football action coming right up on us. This week we have some mid-table matches. But before we get to those, we have that big clash, that title decider, that City versus Arsenal game on Wednesday. We're just going to quickly review what took place over the weekend. So, Leon, talk to me. A quick breakdown of what took place in that Brentford versus Aston Villa game. Oh, Leon seemed to be off. Carey, talk to us then until Leon resumes.
Well, the Brentford versus Aston Villa game. I think we kind of predicted that. Well, I predicted that Aston Villa would go out and get 3 points, being that Brentford cruising right now through the season. But they turned up. They played at home. From let's say maybe 60% of the game, they bossed the game. They brought it to Aston Villa. I mentioned the two players that we should have looked out for Brentford, Mbeumo and Tony, and those were the two players who linked up to create the goal. So,
Yes.
spot on there. So if Brentford had a goal in them, it was from one of those two players, which, worked out that way. Aston Villa, they fought straight to the end, continue. They didn't get a win, and I like the mentality that the fans, the coach, and the players are now displaying at Aston Villa. They got a draw, but it felt like a loss to them because the run of form that they're on, they think that they should at least go there, capitalize on the 3 point scene, what is at stake for them. But they celebrated. A point is better than none, even though a lot of situations we would definitely want those 2 extra points. But the game was it was mostly in Brentford's favor, but Aston Villa did what they had to do. It was a good end-to-end game, especially in the last 20 minutes or so.
Yes, I must confess, I pretty much call this one spot on, even the correct score, 1-1. And as you mentioned, you could definitely see that even when Aston Villa equalized, they didn't take any long celebration. They were hustling to get the ball back to try and go for the win because they know what was at stake. Pretty much a European spot beckons for the team. So you could definitely see that that's the mentality they entered the game with. And I mean, it's definitely a fair result. In fact, on the run of play, I thought Brentford had some very, what should I say, pinpoint, clear-cut opportunities to score. And they pretty much fluffed their lines. So, on the run of play, you could say Aston Villa somewhat got off the hook by, this one ending in a 1-1 draw. I'm sure Brentford would have, and the Brentford fans would have pretty much felt a bit disappointed at that scoreline, just based on the quality and quantity of the chances which the team managed to create. But 1-1 it ended. We see Speedy has now joined us. Welcome, Speedy.
Night, viewers and subscribers. Sorry for the late entrance.
Yes, sir. Better late than never,
Never, yeah.
Yes, we are just quickly recapping that Brentford Aston Villa game, that one ending 1-1, of course, courtesy of that Ivan Toney goal. And it was Douglas Luiz for Aston Villa, which equalized from that nice little layoff from Buendia. But in terms of tactics, though, Speedy, I'm gonna bring you in right off the bat. How did you see both teams lining up tactically? Did we see anything new from Aston Villa? We know Emery is always pulling a trick or two out of the hat.
I wouldn't say necessarily new. For those who happen to play fantasy, yeah, and drafted Ali Watkins, yeah, a lot of us were disappointed over the game week. Otherwise, I thought that the momentum that they got from the Newcastle victory would have spurred them on, to beat in Brentford, but we can't take anything away from Brentford. I think they're exceptionally well organized team. And Ivan Toney, he's a quality striker, probably one of the best top five in the league. So, at any moment in time, he can come up with something. So I guess that's the real reason why Aston Villa, the game kind of didn't go in their favor. Tactically, Aston Villa will always be coming at you. They'll be compact. They'll be looking for what is with his hold up play, being an outlet to get the wingers into the game. I thought that they probably missed a bit of depth, with Bailey coming off the bench. Now he's being injured, so don't really have that option again. And a few other, one or two other players being out. I don't think Ramsey necessarily is, what did I say, outside forward. I don't think he really possesses that quality going forward. He's a good hold-up baller, dribbler. I don't think he is good enough on the wing, to create and drive at players like that. So
Yeah,
I
additionally, just
was
to
not
cut
fair.
in there, Speedy, but additionally, we saw where the goalkeeper was substituted at halftime as well for Aston Villa. I'm hearing he had some kind of food poisoning where he was vomiting up at halftime. So, I mean, the goal did come in the second half for Brentford. So I'm not sure if, as you mentioned, that lack of depth in the side, where Olsen came on to replace the World Cup winner Martinez, that's really a drop down right there in quality, of course. Hopefully he'll
Yes,
recover
but
for the next game.
hopefully, but at any given time, a player can be out for whatever reason. I'm sure the players, even though it's a drop off in quality, players are there and ready and hoping to take their chance. You can't really take anything away from Brentford, saying that, oh, because Martinez wasn't there. I don't think that really had much bearing on the game.
Mm, got you. But Leon, what was your take? What's your overview of that game?
I think it went as I expected. I know that Villa was the team in form, and it seems as Brentford is on early holidays because they haven't played well in recent times. But seeing as it was at Brentford and they needed a result from all those poor matches, I expected Brentford to put up a fight. Villa didn't really get going. But that just show you the testament of Unai Emery, because even when they're down and out of it, they never gave up and they end up salvaging a point from that game. I think Brentford, as you said, was fluffing their lines. They had a lot of joy over the top. I saw Mbuemo with a lovely assist, but I think it went as expected. A 1-1 draw is
Mm.
unfair to Brentford, as the coach said in the post-match interview. But I just think it's testament to Aston Villa. They hung on and they got a point, and at this point in the season, it's a very crucial point indeed.
Yes, that's a very fair assessment there, the points shared, and both teams move on. I believe Brentford now journeys to Chelsea, I believe, and
Winnable
Aston,
fixture.
right. So it is what it is, a fair result, a draw game, a stalemate, but we move, and we move to Newcastle versus Spurs. That one ended after 20 minutes. It was like a blitz in the NFL. 5 goals within 20 minutes of play. Carey, the man from North London, talk to us. How did you see that game? You mentioned in the preview that weak mentality that the Spurs team is now, characterized by. But talk to us.
Yeah, as I told you, from in the preview, Spurs, they are totally out of it. I think right now they're probably one of the most poorly run teams within the league.
In fact, I was reading just now that not only was the interim coach sacked, but also the director of football was also sacked. So we can definitely see
Yeah.
that there has been a structural breakdown even behind the scenes. And I guess it's just characteristic of what is taking place on the field currently.
Right there, as I said, there's no formal leadership, whether from the head of the club to those on the pitch. No leadership, the mentality. I don't know if it's a virus going around in North London right now, but both North London and showing a weak mentality. But Spurs showing the worst of it, as it were. As predicted, but didn't predict the scoreline, but we predicted a dominant Newcastle
Newcastle win.
performance.
Yes.
But honestly, not in this fashion. I think the players really, really wanted to show Spurs that we know you're weak, we know what's at stake, we're coming to take it all. But it's that same. Honestly, I think if it was played at the Spurs Stadium, it would not be much of a difference. Maybe the scoreline would have been less, but I honestly still think no matter where it was played, Newcastle would go and grab that win.
But 5 goals after 20 minutes, Kerry, this is unprecedented. I mean, it's not as if Spurs is in the relegation zone. They are punching with the big boys. And to be down 5 goals to nil after 20 minutes of play, this is unheard of.
Let's put it into perspective. If we're supposed to calculate the Premier League by the start of January 2023, Spurs will be nowhere near where they are right now. They had an early good run of form, but we saw them breaking down from the Conte decisions to everything started breaking down. Since then, it's total turmoil. So I see them maybe slipping straight down to 7th, 8th. Wouldn't be surprised at this point.
But Speedy, I'll bring you in at this moment. How did Newcastle manage this victory? This one ending 6-1. Of course, Kane got that consolation goal. But 6-1, Speedy, talk to us. This is a shock.
I would say I'm rather disappointed at the result. I was hoping for a draw. I still have 1%, slight 1% glimmer of hope that Liverpool that is will probably catch Newcastle. I mean, after a thumping victory like that, I think they have secured top 4.
Yeah, man, that ship has long sailed.
I think it's crazy for a manager, to be starting Eric Dyer and in a back 4. A guy who has been so much protected in a back 3, who still makes mistakes in a back 3. I cannot understand that. And then you're going to have Perisic and Porro, who has not settled in. Porro has not settled in the league as yet. And Perisic is more of an attacking-minded player as opposed to a defensive-minded player. So basically, it was just Christian Romero at the back, and the first 20. So that one man against Alexander Isaac, it's dangerous. And you have a Joe Linton who is hungry for goals, same way, is a quality. I don't even know if he's a striker or a midfielder, but he's a quality player. Yes, and he's also a quality tackler. So I think that coach, he put the writing on the wall that, this Spurs team is in turmoil right now. I would have probably lost my head hearing some of the comments from Daniel Levy talking about Spurs and what he's done since he's been there, talking about bringing go-kart tracks and all those things. So I don't think this man is interested in any form of football on the pitch. He's more interested in the business of the stadium and the surrounding community of Tottenham. And I think that Spurs is in a really perilous position right now.
Yes,
and they do have Manchester United and Liverpool left, so Brian Mason in charge, it can only get worse.
Well, if this isn't rock bottom for Spurs, Speedy, I'm not sure what rock bottom will look like, because after going down 5-0 inside 20 minutes and that game ending in 6-1, then I
I
can't
mean,
even envision what rock bottom will look like, going forward until the end of the season.
just me can get worse. Can
But Leon, from a tactical point of view, Speedy did mention what I would classify as a change in formation. We see where I believe almost 50 games consecutively, Spurs had been playing with a back three. And now at this moment, we saw the coach coming in and springing a back four. And of course, the result is there for us to see. It was complete waste. The team just didn't know how to play inside of a back four. And it seems like that situation was compounded, as Speedy again pointed out, by the player selection. Wing backs pretty much trying to play a conventional right back role. And we saw where Newcastle pretty much just exploited that formation at any given moment. What say you, Leon, from a
Yeah,
tactical point of view?
I would say that was a massive miscalculation on their part. I mean, playing a back three, used to playing a back three and going to experiment in a back four at Newcastle. I think he just caused it there himself. And after that, to be honest, to me, it's not even about tactics. Other than that, really, it's giving me a massive PTSD because Man United has been on the end of those results, and with the manager, what do you call it? The type of manager again? Interim
Right,
with
interim manager, right?
Ralph Ragnick, and the players know that he's not gonna stay, so they're pretty much cruising. And after two or three went in, I mean, the players lost their heads. There was no playing massive gaps, no space in a. I just think after Newcastle saw those first two went in there, they knew Spurs were there for the taking, and they just pretty much exploited that. There was nothing really spectacular about the goals. It was like it's just playing through Spurs, cutting them open, wing play. Isaac shaking his head at one point. I guess he's saying to himself like this can't be the Premier League that I've been hearing about. Because one point I thought he was playing in La Liga with all that massive space in behind. So I just think Newcastle smell blood and they just went for the juggle, and only Kane with that goal I'd say did something, and I think he should smell the thing. And there's a nice project up in Manchester that can suit him properly. So if he doesn't,
Well, yes, I mean, definitely a result like this is definitely going to send shockwaves, throughout that Spurs camp. And of course, Kane being one of the few world-class players, the vultures may very well start circling during the summer. I'm not sure his career will last another rebuild at Spurs. So he may very well be seeking greener pastures which may very well lead him to finally winning a trophy of some sort. I don't believe him staying at Spurs. A trophy is anywhere in their future anytime soon. So in order to get any form of silverware, he may very well have to uproot from Spurs and transplant to another club. I mean, you're giving him an option up there at Manchester United, but I'm
have that
sure.
number 9. We have that number 9 waiting for him.
But Kerry, I'll bring you in at this point. I mean, we saw what Spurs did, but what of Newcastle? Newcastle must be given credit. I mean, the goals did not just walk themselves in, but we saw Isak getting a double. We saw Murphy also getting a double. And of course, Wilson, it seemed like their front three or front four is currently firing on all cylinders. Talk to us about the role that Newcastle played in this complete demolition job.
Credit to Shah as well. I think he did really well while he was on the pitch. He came off with a little knock, hopefully. Nothing too serious. We'll get more updates in the coming days. But I think he really did well to nullify, because one of the goals leading one, yeah, man. Shah made a tackle and Son close to the Tottenham 18 yard, which led to a goal. And he's a striker, but he was up there. He was right there, man marking between Son and Kane. He was interchanging man marking with them. So that was brilliant from him. I think he had a really outstanding game. Outside of Murphy, I would give Murphy the man of the match.
Right.
But second would have been Shar, and then Isak, in my opinion. But credit to Joe Willock as well. He really
Yes,
ran a
yes. I recall that magnificent outside of the foot through ball to one of those Isaac's goal. I mean, world class, world quality, of course.
Same man. So credit to the players, as Leon mentioned that it got to the point where I think the Newcastle players they were looking around like this is absolutely pathetic. You know, it's like one of those expedition para games we used to play back in the days. You know, that's how they went out there and said we're just gonna have fun. 2-0. These guys have no way of coming back. They're showing no sort of resilience, no sort of fight, no oomph, nothing. And Newcastle was like, all right, we're just going to, you know, turn the knife, you know, rub salt in the wounds, go out there, have fun, collect these 3 points. Champions League anthem playing it at St. James Park next should be wonderful stuff.
Indeed. But let's now pivot, gents. That was the weekend. Coming up on Wednesday is the big one. I would say the anticipated game of the season. The title decider. Manchester City versus Arsenal. Speedy, talk to us. What can we expect from that game?
You know, I find it, I don't even want to say hilarious. Find it amusing that Arsenal fans are now seeing what I've been saying from beginning of
What have you been saying, Speedy?
Team will not be winning any sort of titles, Premier League title this season, especially. I mean, you have a club and a system that sacrifices what they call small trophies to go for a title this season. And you also have them saying that, oh, you know, if they focus on the league, even though if they don't win it, you know, thinking top four will be, you know, something wonderful. I think that it's very hilarious, if we're being honest. This team, I've said that I'm not trying to take anything away from the football that they've been playing. They have been playing some quality football. I will give them that. But I didn't see a title mentality in this team. I didn't see a sustainable structure that will bring them through the entire season. I know having chased down City, you know, for quite a few seasons myself, I know that nothing is decided in January, nothing is decided in February, nothing is decided in March. These April, May, June, these are the most important times. You know, this is when you see the real Man City coming out. This is when you have to win all your games. And I think that Arsenal lost the game from the Liverpool draw. So coming up to this game in the week, I expect City to go out there. I mean, looking back at the game on the weekend, they lost. I probably think City would have pummeled them coming this week. But I think that, you know, pulling back those few late goals, I think that it's a possibility that they'll go down there and, you know, the game will probably end 2-1 or, you know, a 1-0 or in favor of City. I don't think that it will be a total domination because it seems that they do still have a little bit of fight in them. But right, bigger than them, I think that City will win the game and ultimately title.
Carey, I have to bring you in immediately after such a comprehensive overview, that a comprehensive narrative that Speedy has presented. You know, I mean, he has definitely been saying throughout the course of these podcasts that he doesn't have the confidence in Arsenal. At some point they will falter and that Man City will surpass them in going for the title. But Carey, being an Arsenal fan, what say you?
Well, remember from the start of the podcast what my top 4 prediction was. Let's just highlight that the top 4 prediction was Arsenal, United, or Newcastle finishing 3rd or 4th, and it seems like that's the goal. Of course, we love to win the title.
Speak for the majority of the Arsenal fans who wanted to win the title.
No, I speak for myself. You understand? I represent Carey. I don't represent Arsenal.
You represent the Arsenal hopeful.
You understand? I'm just one man. But honestly, as I said, Wednesday is when the title race will be decided, to be honest. With the mentality that Arsenal have been displaying over the past, well, Speedy said since the Liverpool match, but I think we can go even a few games before that where, they would they've been conceding goals. The clean sheets have not really been coming in. And I think that is where the problem really lies because Arsenal normally builds up from the back, beating the press going straight for the opponent's box. But now we see that they're conceding the goals. And that really affects the mentality of the midfielders, especially defenders. And now with Saliba out, we don't have that coverage that we had a few game weeks ago. So we're conceding, and now we're in a position where we have to be outscoring opponents to try to get points. And you don't want that situation going at the Etihad where you have to be outscoring a Pep team which has been playing the best football that we probably have seen. And if we're being honest, the football that Pep team has been playing over the past month and a half is probably the best we have seen Man City in maybe a year or two. They pinpoint accurate everything, position. So we're going in there hopefully. I think if Arsenal get a draw, it would be a good result. But seeing how things are, it is definitely leaning. The favor is definitely leaning to Man City, definitely leaning to Man City. But I know Arsenal will try, as Peter said, they do have fight in them. They have the fight, maybe at this point, not the killer instinct, but they do have the fight. So let's hope Wednesday is probably a day they can find that killer instinct. If they get a win, it's a lot of pressure on Pep. If City gets a draw, then we probably can say, close the curtains. Because let's be reminded that Man City has 2 games in hands on Arsenal, basically. So that is, we can count for 6 points for City. So if Arsenal go and lose the match or even get a point, then, City's right back on the heels of them. And we know what Pep is going to at the end of a season. So let's see. If we get the win, interested.
Yes. But Leon, we have the 2 fans here, one from Arsenal. Speedy has had his doubts on this team all along. You should be able to bring some parity and get us more zoomed in on this particular fixture. What say you in relation to this game, Leon? Man City versus Arsenal. We see the situation, we see the points differential, and we also see the games in hand. And currently, as it stands, if City were to go on and win their game in hand, in addition to beating Arsenal, then they are firmly in the driver's seat. But the ball is wrong. It's still not completely lost for Arsenal. So how do you see this game panning out?
I think due to the recent results of Arsenal, I think there's massive pressure on Arsenal. More Arsenal in this fixture. I think even if something unexplainable happened and I think Arsenal goes on to win, I don't think it will be detrimental for Man City because of the form that Arsenal's been showing. And I think even these results that the points that they have dropped, I think it's a two-way thing for Arsenal. Is because their confidence is lowers a bit, and then the teams that are going to come against Arsenal, I think they have more belief in themselves than from Arsenal in the earlier part of the season. So teams will be coming to Arsenal not to be afraid of them because they see where they actually have some of that old Arsenal in them. I wouldn't say it's I think they have changed a bit, and that's what I've been impressed mostly about Arsenal. I think they have come massively, as you have seen fight. Normally Arsenal would lay down, but I think it's just these results. I just think it's the pressure of the title race. I mean, after Arsenal played West Ham, I think Mikel Antonio came out and saying that he's been hearing that from the Arsenal dressing room. They're been focusing on games to come instead of the games that they're actually playing. So you can see that when Arsenal goes up like 2-0, they take their foot off the gas. So it's thinking about encounters to come, and that is a massive error in their part. They should take every game by its merit because no team is easy, and I think it's the ball is in City's court. Obviously, I think they're in massive. They're on a good form. All Haaland, De Bruyne, all their players are stepping up, and you and Speedy would know that dropping a point against Man City in the last couple of weeks is basically giving up the title, much less to drop to go 3 games, drawing back to back is that's not title winning form. Arsenal is under a lot of pressure, and City's been there, done that, and so I just think City will have too much for them. And in this match, we just hope that Arsenal can give a fair account of themselves, because if they don't turn up, City will be up for it for sure.
Yes, a pressure game indeed. The pressure cooker doesn't raise the temperature any higher than in this game. But quickly, gents, before we run out of time, Carey, I'll come to you first. Give us a scoreline for that one.
The brain says Man City 3-1. The heart says Arsenal 1-0.
Leon, what say you?
I know. I would go with the brain. I would say 3-1 to Man City. I'm not sure Arsenal can pull out a clean sheet with Holding at the back and and Shevchenko going in the midfield. I think Man City will score, and I think a 3-1 would be the result that I'm going with.
Speedy,
2-0 Man City.
2-0 to Man City. Well, gents, we are quickly running out of time, but I'll just go around the horn and you give me your final word on the weekend action that has gone and what is to come in the remainder of the season. So quickly, Speedy, what say you? Give us your overview.
I think it was an interesting weekend of football, Glad to see my team win, in a precarious position for the season. Impressive performance by Newcastle. I must say that that would have been the performance of the weekend. And looking forward to the game this week, I expect some quality fixtures, and I expect City to become firm favorites for the title after that Arsenal game.
Leon, what's your final word?
It was a great weekend for me. I was tuning into the FA Cup fixtures. As you know, we're competing in that small trophy, as the Arsenal fans would say. They have they have they have bigger fish to fry, but that fish isn't looking really well right now. But we escaped through. We escaped through, and we're going to play Man City in the final. I think it's June the 4th. So I think for Man United, I think we're at that point of the season where you won't be seeing the best of Manchester United. I think we already saw the best of them early part. Too many games, weekend squad. So we're just taking it step by step, and hopefully we can get another trophy and secure top 4 for the rest of the season.
And Carey, over to you, the man whose team still leads the league, the man who is now in the hot seat, the man who is under pressure. What say you?
I think you're mistaking me for Mikel Arteta, but this week of football really solidified the top 4 for me. I think that's my greatest takeaway from this weekend. The top 4 is set. Just how they finish. That's all we're waiting for now. With Man U leading Spurs by, I think, 9 points or something of that sort, with 2 games in hand on Spurs. I count Spurs out of the top 4 race. So that 3rd and 4th is between Newcastle and United. They will toss that out. Arsenal showing once again why Burton's been having doubts about them during the next match. As mentioned, the relegation zone doesn't look too bad. And honestly, I think there is one more twist in the title race. Don't know if it's going to happen Wednesday, but let us see.
Yes, I'm looking forward to that one on Wednesday. And for me, I didn't give any predictions earlier, but for me, I'm thinking there's going to be a twist in this game. And I'm thinking this one is going to end in another draw. So I'm backing Arsenal to draw at 4th consecutive game. So I'm going to remain firmly on the fence for this one, and I'm going to expect a draw. And I'm thinking that the title race won't be decided by this game, but I think the title race will be decided by future games to come. But there you have it, viewers and subscribers. Thank you again for joining us here on Beating the Press podcast. I'm just going to continue to encourage you to share the platform, continue to subscribe, continue to like, continue to comment. I'm just going to extend my thanks to Speedy, Leon, Carey for coming and sharing their profound thoughts, their views, and their opinions. And until next time, this is Rafa signing off.